I'm Marcel, I write for the blog Lesser Known Gems, and as any self-respectful reviewer of classical literature, I'm going to do the classics tag. An overhyped classic that you didn't like. There was always something that rubbed me the wrong way when I read A Room with a View by E.M. Forster, but I didn't know what it was, and considering the book is quite short, I said, well, I can just finish it. The author in A Room with a View presented the book as feminist writing, and you can't have feminist writing proclaiming this is such a strong female character when the only thing she is contemplating is which boy do I want to end up with. So therefore I have to say I really didn't like A Room with a View. What time period do you like to read from? Now I like reading books written from 1789 up until the start of the 20th century. Now the reason why I phrase it like that and not Victorian literature is that Victorian literature is purely books written in England, and the reality is that the changes that was happening in England was happening throughout of Europe, and that there is a huge amount of good European literature that is lost when there is such a focus on Victorian literature and what was happening in Britain. And while the style of the time can be a bit soap opera because very few people could afford to buy whole books, so the books on the time were written in magazines, and each magazine had a new chapter of the story, and therefore you had to write in a way to get people to buy the next magazine and the next chapter. The topics that you're talking about, the topics of humanity and identity and human versus technology is so imperative and so big that I just love reading it from every aspect. What is the most embarrassing classic that you haven't read? And the most embarrassing classic I haven't read is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I read Ender's Game, really didn't like it, started to read Jane Eyre, got a foul taste in my mouth due to residue of Ender's Game. So this is on my list, I just need to forget Ender's Game beforehand. What is your favorite fairy tale? Now, my favorite fairy tale is one collected by Asbjørnsen Ammo, The White Bear King of Valamon. And the reason why I love the fairy tale so much is that it's about a girl who makes a mistake and then needs to rectify it. And that's quite rare in fairy tales. The princess is both human enough to make mistakes, but badass enough to fix the mistake herself. What 5 classics are you going to read soon? Now, the 5 classics I'm going to read soon are these, and they are Jenny by Sigrid Undset. I really need to read Sigrid Undset. I'm going to read The Fisherman's Son by Vilas Lakis. I'm very sorry that I did not pronounce that name correctly. I tried to Wikipedia it, but there weren't any people who knew how that was pronounced. If you know, please let me know in the description below. It's Mikael Sadevenaunu. Again, please let me know how it's supposed to be pronounced. And this is Metrea Concord. Then it's Don Juan by Molière. Have to have a play within it, somewhere place. And then it's Faust by Goethe. Favorite modern book based on a classic? I don't read that much contemporary literature. it has to do with time, pretty much. Favorite film or TV adaptation based on a classic? When you're talking about favorite television series based on a classic, there's only one contender. Sherlock. Sherlock Holmes is actually the character most portrayed on film in that respect. Worst film and TV series adaptation based on a classic. Now, an example of just a bad film is, for me, Hamlet with Mel Gibson. And it all starts with the introduction, Hamlet, King of the Danes, which is Denmark, and then a picture of a castle on a hilltop. I don't know how many of you have been to Denmark. Mountains is not something they have a lot of in Denmark. So that's not really a good film, regardless of it. Editions of classics that you want to collect more from. First off, there is the editions regarding William Shakespeare's work, where I want to promote the editions published by the Royal Shakespeare Company. A lesser known classics that you want to promote. I can't really imagine what kind of lesser known gems of classical literature that I want to promote the most. So remember, my lovely people, it's better to be a witty fool than a foolish wit.